Alright, we'll take a look at Devil's Dream, the melodic version, measure by measure breakdown. Here's measure number 1. Notice I keep this chord position down the whole time, so I've got all my fingers stationary while I get the roll going with the right hand. Let's take a look at the second measure. Fingers still in the same position. A little variation for the second half of this measure. We move the first finger over to the second string and concentrate on this string set of the second and third. That takes us down to the open position here. This is an A minor chord we're playing over. So pay attention to notice we're dropping the thumb to the 4th string. So for this whole measure, the thumb's playing on the 4th string, not the 5th. So if you hold this, I'm holding a partial shape here, 3 notes of the A minor chord on the 3 strings that we're actually playing. And if you just hold that shape, again, you don't have to do much with the left hand. Just keep that stationary shape there and let the right hand do the work. That takes us to the second line, first measure. Quite a bit going on in this measure. We'll talk about a few things. The first 2 eighth notes are actually conducted with a slide, so our first note is on the 1st fret and we're sliding all the way up to the 5th. When you get up to tempo, it's hard to really hear a clear distinction between the 1st and the 5th. What'll result will be just the sound of a slide that lasts about a full beat. But while you're practicing it slowly, you can give it a little more attention. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. After the slide, then we do a drop thumb. And then we get interesting here, we do some alternate string pull-offs. If you're not familiar with alternate string pull-offs, you might want to work on that for a while. You might also want to check out the 30 Days to Better Banjo course where I cover that in more detail. But the quick crash course lesson here is that alternate string pull-off occurs when you use your left hand to pluck a string. So usually I'll do something like in this measure, I'll play the 5th fret and the 2nd string, and then I'll pull off, quote unquote, with my left hand by just plucking an open string. So when you see this notated in my tablature, you'll see a number underneath the note, and anytime you see a number, that's indicating an alternate string pull-off, and it's also telling you which finger of the left hand I recommend you use to pull that, to pluck that string. So with all that in mind, I'll play this first measure on the second line a couple more times for you slowly. Alright, let's move on to the second measure in this line. This will be just the same as the first measure of the tune. And the next measure, the third measure of the second line, will be the same as the measure played in the previous line. Should be familiar to you. That'll take us to the third line, first measure. And this is going to start out the same as our previous measure that we analyzed a little bit, but this one's going to go in a different direction. I recommend you use the same left-hand fingering that I'm using. First finger for the slide, and also for this 5th fret note on the 3rd string, and also for the 2nd fret note. Then use your 3rd finger for the hammer on. And that leads us into the second measure on this line, the first ending. And notice we're still in position from the previous measure, so we use our first finger to play the first note of the measure.